up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review, retro review, for A Different World, Season 4, Episode 8, Love Thy Neighbor. This is probably my second favorite episode of the whole series. Of course, my favorite episode is the wedding episode. Please, baby, baby, please, baby, baby, please. But this is probably my second favorite episode. My third favorite episode is the episode we just saw last week. So, it is the aftermath of Keanu and the tornado that was Whitley coming through and tearing the house off. Keanu is gone. It's been a couple of weeks, and Dwayne is still, keeping his distance from Whitley. But they still friendly, but he's not, jumping to it or whatever. And so we see them have this awkward exchange in the hallway where he speaks to her and everything, but again, it's just awkward. And Jaleesa is supposed to be helping Whitley with her marketing project. And Jaleesa was like, I got things to do. And she said, well, you promised. She said, no, I promised you that if you finish doing all your chores by Monday, that I would help you. It is Thursday. I got stuff to do. I can't help you. So Dwayne is standing there laughing at the situation. And she was like, Dwayne, she starts, well, Dwayne, you took the class, right? I mean, you can help me, right? And at first, Dwayne gives her a hard time, but he eventually says that he'll help her. And he does help her, and she gets an A on the project, but like she explained to Jaleesa, but he was still keeping his distance. I mean, he helped me because he's Dwayne, and that's the kind of guy that he is. But ultimately, he ain't really happy. Like, he wasn't happy about the situation, right? I mean, he was polite, but you know what I'm saying. Wasn't overly, foo about it. So she offers him dinner to thank him for getting an A, and he was like, maybe another time. And she was like, I mean, all right then. So Dwayne is talking to Ron about it, and Ron is like, so you turned her down? And he was like, yeah, man, because, Whitley just be playing games. Like, I don't have time for it. And he was like, but you do have feelings for her. And he was like, I mean, yeah, I do, but I just can't. He said, listen, let me tell you something. You can keep on keeping your distance from Whitley if you want to, but eventually she will move on. And you like her and she like you. Y'all need to go ahead and let the past be the past. And y'all need to figure this thing out. Now, when Ron is giving good advice, we know we in trouble. Okay? We know we are in trouble when Ron is the one giving good advice. So, while this is going on, y'all know we always have our story within the story. So, while this is going on, Ron is in class, again, he's in the African American Studies class, and they're really talking about the New Deal and how a lot of our social programs that still exist today were started during that time period, which a lot of it is dissolved into people just being like, oh, it's just welfare and it's just handouts. So Ron is telling, he's on his high horse about, how, people who are homeless because they want to be, and all these jobs out here, McDonald's is always hiring, you can go get a job. And of course, everybody is looking at him like, Ron, you can't really think like that. Like, you can't really feel like that people are homeless because they want to be homeless and they don't have nothing better to do. Like, you have to understand that that's not how this works. But of course, Ron is being Ron, and he's like, nah. So, of course, he's driving along, and he sees a bunch of homeless people, and one of the guys tries to, clean his car, and he realized that it's Ray Day. Now, if y'all remember, it was either last season or the season before last when Ray Days he was closing down. He said he was closing down, and he was moving down south to be with his daughter, and they brought up all the ribs, and they brought up all the special sauce, and they also brought up all the liquor. And that's when I remember that's when Freddie got drunk and ended up throwing up on Letty's. Shout out to Mary Alice, and rest in peace. I think she threw up on Letty's fish that she helped Walter make for Jaleesa. Listen, y'all correct me in the comments if that ain't my right recollection, but I remember when Renee's closed. So this is Renee. And Ron is like, wait a minute, how are you out here homeless? And of course, it gives him a different perspective because now this is somebody that who wasn't a bum, who wasn't on the street, who didn't want handouts. This man had his own business, a successful business. And he said, well, I thought you were going down south to be with your daughter or be with somebody, his mother. He was going down south to take care of his mother. And he was like, well, my mother not here no more. And so that lets you know that his mother must have passed away. And he, and Ron was like, well, how did you get in this place? Like, how did you get here? And he was like, listen, medical bills wiped out my savings. When my mom died, now I'm an old man. Don't nobody want to hire me. Like, ain't nobody trying to order a 60-year-old, short cook, like short order cook. Like, so I ended up here. And he was like, he was like, well, what about your daughter? Like, why didn't you reach out to your kids? And he said, because I don't want them to feel like their daddy is a bum. And, it's a sad story, but it's not a unique story. Unfortunately, we know medical bills and unforeseen things like that. You think you have enough money. You think you done saved up money. And guess what? It ain't what you thought it was. Now, back at the apartment, Jaleesa done left Whitley at the apartment because Whitley is drowning her sorrows in cleaning. She got on a sweatsuit. She got on, they call it pimple cream, but it looked like some Noxzema, white dots on her face. She got her hair wrapped up in a shower cap of all, what do you call it, jerry curl cap, whatever. And Jaleesa leaves and tells her, listen, you can go ahead and finish cleaning up, drowning your sorrows, but I got things to do. So, I'm going out, Jaleesa child, she always got something going on. So she hears a knock at the door, and she automatically assumes it's Jaleesa. She was like, well, did you forget your key? She opens the door, and it's Dwayne, and he's standing there doing his best Billy D impression, talking about something. I'm not Jaleesa, but I've got dinner. I said, you know what? I don't know who told you to do that. Debbie Allen, you didn't direct him to do that. But that's okay. You was giving us your best Billy D. Williams moment. You was trying. And he got the hat tilted. And of course, Whitley slams the door because she looks a hot mess. And he was like, Whitley, you gonna open this door or I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. So she opens the door. He lets her in. And they get to talking. And he tells her, he said, listen, me and you need to talk. Like, for real. He said, listen, let's start at the beginning. I wrote you letters this summer and you never responded. And she was like, I did write the letters, but I didn't mail them. He was like, why would you write letters and not mail them to me? She said, because I wanted you to miss me more. He was like, you are sick. She said, I was, but I'm not now. Like, you're right. I was sick and I was playing games, but I don't do that now. And he was like, yeah, what about kissing my best friend in front of me? Like, you was playing games. And she said, I was playing games, Dwayne. Like, listen, stop bringing up my old shit. I was playing games. He said, nah, I'm talking about 2 weeks ago. What about that whole thing with you and Keanu and the whole maze I did? She was like, listen, you gonna keep bringing up old shit. She said, listen, Dwayne, look, I was playing games and I was foolish and I was stupid. But I said, if I ever got you, I would. He said, you don't have me yet. He was like, I need to know that I can trust you because what you was doing, I don't know, Whitley. Like, it ain't never, he said, I don't know. He said, so let's just have dinner and let's finish this conversation. So they warm up the food. And she goes and changes into something more comfortable, more Whitley-like. And they sit down to talk. And, no, actually, he doesn't. They sit down. He makes her, he's like, nah, we're going to talk now. So he makes her stay, And they get to talking and she said, she made a comment about who he was freshman year. And he was like, what you mean took a chance on me? What you mean we from different backgrounds? She was like, Dwayne, now look, we ain't about to play games. You know that me and you were not from the same place. Like, you was a goofy freshman running around with your glasses flipped up. And he said, and you were obnoxious, snobby, whatever, who people couldn't stand. And she was like, touche, touche. But they actually start talking, and they start trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. And she lets him know, listen, I love you. And before he can respond, they get ready to kiss. What ends up happening? Ron comes busting in. Now, how in the world Ron got into Jaleesa's apartment? I don't know. The door wasn't locked or whatever, but Ron comes running in there with Renee, and they cooking food. They gonna, he said, we gonna save Renee, and look at what we got. So him and Renee are in the kitchen cooking, and Dwayne and Whitley are sitting on the couch looking so upset that they were interrupted and they couldn't finish what they was trying to get going on. So Ron was like, listen, Operation Renee, is in full effect. We're gonna get everybody involved. We're gonna help him out. We're gonna get him back on his feet. And Dwayne was like, cool, let's do it. So they end up eating, and of course the food is good and they have a good little dinner, whatever. And, Ron they end up going over to Ron and Dwayne's apartment. And Ron is like, well, um, why don't you stay here tonight? He was like, nah, I gotta go. He said, thank you for dinner. Thank you for, thank you for the hospitality. But, I'm gonna go ahead and go. And he was like, Renee, you gotta open back up, man. You gotta start. He was like, listen, I'm too old to start a restaurant again. Like, I'm old, I'm tired, and I really don't have a desire to do it. Like, it takes a lot to run a restaurant. And I'm just not at that place anymore. And so he was like, he said, I'll help you out, Renee. Look, just stay here tonight. And, I will talk about it in the morning. So while Ron is trying to get him some linen together for him to sleep on the couch, Ray slides out. Because listen, Ron, you're not listening. I don't think the man necessarily wants to sleep on the couch. I mean, sleeps on the streets. But he ain't trying to start no business either. I mean, somewhere in the middle is where we need to help Mr. Renee. But he ends up slipping out, child. Now, while that's going on, Whitley and Dwayne are finally alone. And Dwayne goes in for the kiss. And who come in the house? Jaleesa with her date. And she immediately sees that she's interrupting them. And she was like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should take this back to your place. Child, her date was like, I live with my mama. Child. So the next thing you know, we see we see Whitley and Dwayne sitting on the terrace. And she said, I'm just waiting for a pigeon to descend upon us because that's just what our luck has been like. And he was like, no, ain't nothing going to interrupt us. So she said, well, I do have something to give you. And she gives him the letters. And he was like, oh, this must have took you all semester to write. And she was like, I told you I wrote these over the summer. He was like, okay, I believe you. And so they get ready to go kiss again. And he said, one more thing. I love you too. And then they kiss. I said, yes, this is it, yes. So now we have started the second phase or the third phase of the Different World trial, story, which is the Dwayne Whitley romance years. Okay, the first phase is the forgotten season that none of us speak on. Okay, the second phase is the Whitley and Dwayne build up. Now we have the Whitney and Dwayne love story, and then y'all know the next phase is what happens after the love story, when the love, and then the next phase is when they find their way back to each other. Child, we got a couple of more phases to go, but hang in there with me. We speeding up the process, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.